Good evening, everyone. My name is Keith Brown. I'm the current president of the governing board here at the First Unitarian Church of Providence. And to my left, Katherine Ahlquist, who is the co-chair of our Standing on the Side of Love committee. And I'll turn things over to her in a minute to give you a little bit of a background to our process thus far. I'd like first, as our previous speakers have, to acknowledge the spirit of collaboration and commitment that has brought everyone out tonight. So thank you for being here. Speaking for our own congregation, we are in the process of learning about the sanctuary movement as best we can and the concrete needs that we can meet. I can say that there is already broad support in the congregation for Reverend Charlie Ortman, our interim minister, who has been a powerful leader for us this year. And he said this in some form, but if you saw the Projo yesterday, he offered these words. We thought we were in a society that cared for and protected its weakest and most vulnerable members, and we're learning that's not true. So those of us who have privilege and at least a semblance of stability need to be responsible for those who do not. And I want to go a little bit further back in history, Unitarian history, for another inspiring point for us at least. Theodore Parker in the mid-19th century, as well as influencing and inspiring two of this country's greatest unifiers, President Abraham Lincoln and the Reverend Martin Luther King. He offered the following prophetic guidance that I felt was a commentary on the things that are happening today in his sermon of Justice and the Conscience. When I am a baby in my undeveloped moral state, I do not love justice nor conform to it. When I am sick and have not complete control over this republic of nerves and muscles, I fail of justice and heed it not. When I am stung with beastly rage, blinded by passion, or over-attracted from my proper sphere of affection, another man briefly possessing me, I may not love the absolute and eternal right. But in my maturity, in my cool and personal hours, when I am most myself, then I love justice with a firm, unwavering love. And that, I think, is where we as adults are in the face of other forms of behavior that we're being presented with these days. Earlier this past year, by vote of the entire membership, our congregation pledged to pursue racial justice in our communities, in our state, and in our nation. So concretely, what we affirmed as a congregation, that under the auspices of the Standing on the Side of Love Committee, we will initiate a campaign of intentional learning, public witness, and partnership building to fulfill this pledge to racial justice. And so we host this meeting and will continue to act on the basis of our conscience and on our shared UUA principles to fulfill that pledge as best we can.
After the elections in November, there was an immediate recognition that there would be people in our community who would be in danger from the incoming administration. There was a strong desire amongst people in our congregation to take action, to prepare to counter the threats surrounding immigration and refugees bandied about during the election process. Our Standing on the Side of Love Committee, one of several social justice groups in our congregation, met to talk about what we could do and what our role might be in the sanctuary movement in our state. Quickly, we recognized that what needed to be done would require the efforts of not just one congregation, but many. With the help of many people from differing faiths, working with people from communities who will be most affected by these yet-to-be unnamed edicts, coming together to figure out what to do. While working on educating ourselves about what we at First Unitarian Church of Providence need to do to get our congregation on board with this sanctuary movement, we reached out into the community and to Reverend Anderson to help us figure out what the role of the greater community could be. During this time of uncertainty, we need to work together to ensure our state continues to be the diverse and lively place we know today. We would like to share with you our Declaration of Justice adopted by the Unitarian Universalist Committee in January 2017. At this extraordinary time in our nation's history, we are called to affirm our profound commitment to the fundamental principles of justice, equality, and compassion, to truth and core values of American society.
In the face of looming threats to immigrants, Muslims, people of color, and the LGBTQ community, and the rise of hate speech, harassment, and hate crimes, we affirm our belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every person.
In opposition to any steps to undermine the right of every citizen to vote or to turn back advances in access to health care and reproductive rights, we affirm our commitment to justice and compassion in human relations.
And against actions to weaken or eliminate initiatives to address the threat of climate change, actions that would threaten not only our country but the entire planet, we affirm our unyielding commitment to protect the interdependent web of all existence.
We will oppose any and all unjust government actions to deport, register, discriminate, or despoil.
As people of conscience, we declare our commitment to translate our values into action as we stand on the side of love with the most vulnerable among us.
We welcome and invite all to join in this commitment for justice. The time is now. We would like to extend our gratitude to Reverend Anderson in calling this meeting and thank all of you for coming to our faith home this evening so that together we can plan for the worst and hope for the best in the days ahead.